Okay, welcome everyone. Today I'm going to be having a look at Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. This is a really fun game that I used to play a lot and haven't played recently, but can be a little bit difficult, I think, sometimes for new players when they start a new game, because you not only have the kind of difficult combat aspects, but you also have to understand some things of how you play the game on the campaign map as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start a new campaign with a new character, and we can have a look at the decisions that we are given to make in making our character, and how they might affect how we then consequently play the game, not only in the battle aspects, but also in the campaign map as well. So let me just start a new campaign here. I've got
For
a nice
500 years, the
video, so let me take
Calradian
my camera
Empire
off.
dominated the continent. Its armies scattered foes before them. The strongholds of proud tribes crumbled beneath its engines of war. From the forests of the north to the wastes of the south, all was brought beneath the standard of their legions. Brutal as the conquest was, the wise agreed that it brought peace. The land, now untroubled by armies, grew rich. But empires, like men, grow old. Leaders lose a common cause. Corruption spreads. Old enemies learn the Empire's tricks and devise new ones of their own. Until one day, the bonds holding the Empire snap. Then comes the Civil War, pitting all against all. A time of hatred. A time of suffering. But also, even in the worst hours, a time of courage and defiance. As new leaders arise, from new places and new peoples, to turn back the tides of destruction and bring forth a new world from the ashes of the old.
Okay, we are back. Let me just put the camera on this side. So the first thing we can choose is our character's culture. So we have Landians, Sturgians, Empire, Azrai, Crusades, or Battalions. If we click on them, then it'll tell us some more information, and it'll tell us the bonuses we get and the malices we get. So if we choose Vlandians as our character's culture, then we'll get a 10% production bonus to villages that are bound to castles, 5% more renown from the battles, and 15% more income while serving as a mercenary. Okay, that's fine, but recruiting lords to armies costs 20% more influence. Now, immediately from this, like, one thing I would say is that in terms of like owning your own villages and things like that, that's something that tends to happen a little bit later in the game rather than immediately. And if you're looking just to play a more kind of combat campaign, then these bonuses that affect villages and production and things like that are not really going to mean much to you. But getting more renown from battles is definitely useful, and 15% more income while serving as a mercenary would be very nice if you think that you would like to play serving as a mercenary. Let's have a look at Sturgians. Armies lose 20% less daily cohesion, and recruiting and upgrading infantry troops are 25% cheaper. Okay, but you have a 20% relationship penalty from kingdom decisions. So if we're looking for a playthrough where we recruit a lot of infantry troops, this would be a pretty good choice, I think, at least in terms of like, economic decisions and maintaining a certain amount of gold. Then in this way, at least when you recruit infantry troops and only infantry troops, and when you upgrade them, you're going to be saving 25% of your coin every time you do that. But overall, I'm not sure if that's going to be like a kind of a huge difference in coin. Empire being in army brings 25% more influence and 20% less garrison troop wage. Garrison troop wage is when you actually own a castle or something like that, and you have to pay the garrison troops a wage to stay there because people don't work for free, right? And village hearths or hearths, depending on how you'd like to pronounce it, increase 20% less. Okay, so for this one, being in the Empire, there's actually not really any immediate benefits in terms of how you start the game, because when you start the game, you're not in an army, you're not paying any garrison troop wages, and you don't have any village hearths either. So these three effects actually would have no effect for you at the start of the game. Azurai, no speed penalty in the desert, and caravans are 30% cheaper to build with 10% less trade penalty, but the daily wages of troops in the party are increased by 5%. Now, no speed penalty in the desert is nice, and if you start as Azurai, you start in a kind of desert area, so that's pretty good. And then if you are trying to either catch enemy armies or parties or run away from them in a desert, then you're going to be at an advantage as long as they aren't also Azurai. And they, if they also have the no speed penalty, then it's not going to be any difference between you anyway. But the daily wages of troops in the party being increased, I think, is actually a pretty bad one, because as you build up your party, and especially once you get higher tier troops in your party, if you have, a 100 high tier troops in your party and you're paying 5% extra gold every day for that, that's gonna add up to quite a lot in the long run actually. So it's quite a significant economic penalty there. The Crusades, let's see, 25% production to horse, mule, cow, and sheep in villages owned by Crusade rulers. Okay, so if you own a village, which you don't at the start, is something you have to work towards, then you get a nice bonus, but no immediate bonus at the start of the game. But recruiting and upgrading mounted troops is 10% cheaper. Okay, so that's similar to the Sturgian culture, where you get a similar bonus for infantry. And 20% less tax income from towns is only going to affect you if you actually own a town. And so if you play in a way where you never really own a town, then actually you have no penalty. But then again, the other benefits, if you don't play in a way where you own villages, where you own towns, these two effects actually don't do anything. And then the only real difference then is that you can recruit and upgrade mounted troops a little bit cheaper, which is okay. And then battalions, 50% less speed penalty and 15% sight range bonus in forests. Okay, that's reasonable. A bit similar to the Azurai with their desert speed or no desert speed penalty. And then the towns owned by Battalion rulers have +1 militia production, but you have a 10% slower build rate for town projects in settlements. Okay, so again, these two are related to owning a town, and this one is a forest bonus. So if you would like to kind of play as a as a forest man and always fighting in forests with your forest infantry or whatever forest troops you have, then having this less speed penalty and sight range bonus would be nice. You know, you could kind of play a role play as a forest man with a forest band of bandits. Hello, QQ Taser. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming by. So in terms of like actual immediate effects, Battalion looks okay if we want to role play as a kind of forest man. Crusades are nice if we want to focus on having mounted troops. Azurai is fine if we want to kind of role play as playing desert warriors. Empire, no real difference in terms of immediate effect when we start playing the game. Sturgians, we have the nice 25% is pretty reasonable. So some nice bonuses for recruiting and upgrading infantry troops. And then Vlandians, we get a 5% more renown from battles and 15% more income while serving as a mercenary. And at the start of the game, it's actually pretty easy to go and offer your services as a mercenary, and you're going to get paid for that depending on how many troops you have and how strong they are. And so always getting 15% more income from that would be nice. So for me, like in terms of immediate bonuses on the campaign, I would say we should choose between Vlandians, Sturgians, Battalions, or So is it going to be a mounted focus, a forest man focus, infantry focus, desert focus? I mean, just the speed difference is, I'd say, is not so amazing. But on the other hand, I think if you start as the Azurai, you probably have easier access to camels as well, which are, I don't know, they're slower than horses, but they're interesting and unique in being not horses. So that could be fun. So which one should we choose? Vlandians, Azurai, Battalions. Now one other thing that actually is important to mention when you're playing Mount and Blade, especially at the start of the game, is that you want to be mounted. And having mounted troops, especially at the start of the game, is going to make it much easier because most of the time you're going to be fighting small bands of warriors that are not mounted. And so if you and your men have horses, it's very easy to kind of pick your engagements or even just use ranged weapons while you're running around them on your horses. They'll never be able to catch you. You'll always be out of their melee range. And it can be fairly easy then to win battles just by picking enemies off tactically like that. So let's choose Landians, okay? Extra renown is nice and extra income is nice too. So let's press next. Now we get to make our character. What kind of face? Can we randomize? Can we randomize? Randomize all. Let's see. Okay. Well, I quite like this. I think I kind of want a black mustache though. Can we change the hair color? Yeah. Can we change the mustache? Can we get a more regal mustache? Okay. Kind of like this one, yeah. Can we make the face? Let's see. Okay, yeah. What about his hairstyle? Which one looks more pompous? Pompous hair. A bowl cut? Okay, no. No bowl cut. Still a bit scraggly. I guess if you're riding around fighting all the time, you are gonna end up a bit scraggly. Any more interesting beards? Okay, this mustache is also pretty nice. Okay, I will take this mustache. Let's see if we can randomize the face again. No. Okay, that seems fine. What about the eye color? Can we change that? Yeah. Let's do some greeny eyes. Okay, that's fine. And then we can even... Oh, we can just put the clothing on or off. Okay, that doesn't really matter. Any markings? Okay, we can give him some interesting facial markings. Oh yeah, everybody loves the one eye, right? The scar running down the face with the missing eye always makes you look more badass. So let's do that. That's fine. Okay, so now we get onto some kind of series of decisions that will affect your actual character abilities, and it gives you these options actually in an interesting way, I think, compared to some other RPG styles. So it asks you a question. You were born into a family of... Okay, and if we click on this one, Baron's Retainers, it actually changes what your... This is your mom and dad, by the way. This changes what your mom and dad wear. It gives you a nice little short paragraph here, giving you some extra information. So your father was a bailiff for a local feudal magnate. He looked after his liege's estates, resolved disputes in the village, and helped train the village levy. He rode with the Lord's cavalry, fighting as an armored knight. And so we get 10 skill levels and 1 focus point to riding and polearm. Riding would be nice because we definitely want to start with a horse, and 1 attribute point to social. So this is a nice pick, I think, but let's have a look at the the other ones first. Urban merchants. Your family were merchants in one of the main cities of the kingdom. They organized caravans to nearby towns, were active in the local merchants guild. This will give 10 skill levels and 1 focus point to trade and charm, 1 attribute point to intelligence. And intelligence is over here. It says intelligence represents aptitude for reading and theoretical learning, and it affects these skills: steward, medicine, and engineering. And you can mouse over these to read what they do. So if we switch back to Baron's Retainers, this one doesn't affect intelligence, it affects social, which affects these skills: trade and leadership and charm. And so depending on, what kind of character you want to build or what kind of advantages you want to start with, you have a nice selection of different options here. Let's have a look at yeomen. Your family was small farmers with just enough land to feed themselves and make a small profit. People like them were the pillars of the kingdom's economy, as well as the backbone of the levy. 10 skill levels and 1 focus point to polearm and crossbow, 1 attribute point to endurance. Endurance affects athletics and riding and smithing, which is nice. And you would also be able to use crossbows better. Urban blacksmith for smithing and two-handed weapons and vigor. Hunters for scouting, crossbow, and control. Control affects your other ranged skills, so if you'd like to choose a more ranged, focused character, this would be a good choice. And then mercenary gives you roguery and crossbow, and 1 attribute point to cunning. We see here roguery is your experience with the darker side of human life. You can tell when a guard wants a bribe, you know how to intimidate someone, and have a good sense of what you can and can't get away with. So these various skills, they don't only affect your combat in the game, they also affect the different decisions you can make when interacting with people. If you have a high charm skill, then you can effectively or more effectively persuade people. If you have roguery, you might be able to intimidate people instead. So all kinds of, there's this nice kind of RPG aspect to the game. But I think I'm going to take a Baron's Retainers so that we get the riding and polearm bonus. Okay, and then we get as a child. This is you. This is you as a child. Very cute. As a child, you were noted for, let's see, your leadership skills. Look at this. 1 focus point to leadership and tactics. Okay. Let's see. Tactics is here. This is your judgment of how troops will perform in contact. This allows you to make a good prediction of when an unorthodox tactic will work and when it won't. It doesn't really tell you exactly what it's going to do, right? So it's not exactly a super helpful explanation there. Let's see, your brawn. So some extra bonuses to two-handed and throwing and vigor. I like the way the child changes his stances here as we go through these. Attention to detail, athletics and bow, okay, and control, numbers, engineering, trade, intelligence, people, charm, leadership, social, and horses, riding, medicine, and endurance. So some extra riding skill would be nice, then we'd get 2 starting points in riding. I'm going to take this one. That sounds fun. Now we're a larger child. Like all village children, you helped out in the fields. You also herded sheep, so a bonus to athletics and throwing and control. Control is the range skills. Worked in the village smithy, so two-handed smithing and vigor. Vigor affects all melee weapons. Repaired projects, smithing, engineering, intelligence, gathered herbs in the wild for medicine, scouting, endurance, hunted small game for bow, tactics, and control, and sold produce at the market for trade, charm, and social. So if I'm going to be riding a horse a lot, usually we would have to use either a ranged weapon and a melee weapon, some kind, and pole arms would be things like spears, which are really nice on a horse. You get that nice movement bonus, speed bonus to your attack. But you can also still use two-handed and one-handed weapons on a horse. But also being able to use a bow on a horse can also be pretty helpful. So if there aren't any other bonuses to polearm here, then I think I would take the extra bonus to bow and control. And now we are a youngster. War was never too far away, you. Let's see. So now we see when we do this one, it's actually changing the equipment that we start with. Look at this. So we will start with a horse, which is what I wanted to start with. But now, let's see, would I like to start with a sword and shield and what looks like a spear? Again, that looks like the same, except this one gives us riding and polearm, taking riding up to 3 points, which would be a nice start. And the riding skill affects your ability, you know, in the compound, in the... Ugh. Let's wait until my mouth is working again. The campaign map. When you get new horses, there are different kind of tiers of weapons and armor, but also different tiers of horses. And so just like you need higher skill levels of one-handed to use better one-handed weapons, you need better, well, or higher skill levels of riding to use higher tier horses as well. So starting with some extra points in riding will allow us then, if we do come across a higher tier horse that we find or buy, we will be able to actually use it. And higher tier horses, they have more health, they run faster, and so you'll be able to outrun even other cavalry because of your superior horse. So let's see, this one would be a bow, a sword, and shield. Okay, that's not too bad. This one is just a bow. Look at that. Look at the smile on his face there. This would be a polearm and a mace. And here we would start with some throwing spears and a sword. So let's see, steward and tactics. Riding and polearm. A sword and a bow, which would be pretty good, but I don't really think I want this point in crossbow. Something in intelligence would be okay. This is a bow, and I think that's a mace on his hip there. We can just about see. Don't think we can turn the character. Now this one or this one gives me the skills that I would like, riding and polearm. But it looks like the armor is a little bit worse. This is some leather armor and a shield. This one is just cloth armor, but we do still get a shield anyway. This one gives the nicest skill bonus, so let's take this one. And now Adulthood. Before you set out for a life of adventure, your biggest achievement was defeated an enemy in battle. So, bonus to one-handed and two-handed, extra renown and vigor. That's okay. That's a good bonus. Tactics and leadership, cunning, calculating, renown. That grin. That grin on his face. You invested some money in land. Okay, don't really want trade or smithing to begin with. Polearm again. Okay, that would be nice. Some extra control would increase bow skills. Had a famous escapade in town. Maybe it was a love affair, or maybe you cheated at dice. Athletics and roguery, endurance, or you treated people well. +1 to mercy, generosity, and honor. Okay. So I think I would prefer to go for a more combat-oriented character at the start. So probably either this one for the one-handed, or this one for the polearm and crossbow. Now I do already have 2 points in polearm, so maybe getting some extra into one-handed and two-handed instead of specializing too much in one kind of weapon. At least this way, because the polearms, they are good at that kind of long-range combat where you're hitting enemies that are a little bit further away from you, but sometimes you do get kind of stuck into a crowd, into a melee, and at that time that's when you want to take out your sword and shield so you can block and hit things a bit faster, hit things that are closer to you. So let's choose defeated an enemy in battle. And now we choose our story background, choices upon choices. Like many families in Calradia, your life was upended by war. Your home was ravaged by the passage of army after army. Eventually, you sold your property and set off with your father, mother, brother, and your 2 younger siblings to a new town you'd heard was safer. But you did not make it. Along the way, the inn at which you were staying was attacked by raiders. Your parents were slain. Oh dear. And your 2 younger siblings seized. Double oh dear. But you and your brother survived because you subdued a raid. Look at the stance they take. Yeah, we're badass. So some extra one-handed and athletics and vigor. Okay, that sounds nice. Drove them off with arrows. Why has he got a big grin on his face now? You're so happy about shooting the raiders with arrows. So one-handed and vigor. Some extra control. Vigor affects the melee skills. Some more riding. Take riding up to level 4. That's pretty good. Extra endurance. And also the scouting skill. This lets you spot tracks as you are moving around the campaign map. Okay, trick the raiders. Roguery and tactics and cunning. You organized the travelers to break out. Okay, so isn't going to be even more riding and endurance, which is already quite high. Some extra bow skill, which would be pretty useful, I think, as well. Or some more one-handed and vigor. Difficult choice, difficult choice. Let's choose the riding. Something that I notice a lot of games does is they have something called diminishing returns. And so the higher you get in a skill level, the harder it is to increase that skill level. And so if you can increase a skill to a quite high level from the very start without actually having to do anything, you can actually save yourself a lot of time in improving that skill. So let's take the extra riding point and see how that works out. Okay, now we are ready to set off with our brother on our mission of vengeance and rescue. And here are all our decisions that we get to review. And let's enter our character name. QQ Taser is my best follower. So let's do that. Okay, difficulty presets. So we have Freebooter, Warrior, Bannerlord, and each of these you see changes all of these effects here. Now, of course, if this is your first time starting the game, Freebooter is a nice choice, but it makes the game fairly easy. So I'm gonna take Warrior. This is gonna reduce the damage I take by 50%. The damage my troops receive by 25%, reduced by 25% to 75%. Recruitment difficulty is easy, so we get 1 extra troop when we recruit, and we have a very small map movement speed bonus, small bonus to persuasion, and the chance of our clan member dying in battle is reduced by 50%. We can even do things like enable birth and death, during the game. So new children will be born, they will grow up, and they can even then, grow into mighty warriors if they survive. So let's begin. Brother, it's been 3 days now. We've been tracking those bastards. I think we're getting close. We need to think about what happens when we catch them. How are we going to rescue Varric and Alda? Are we up for a fight? I'm going to run the course. I need to know if I can fight. I need to know I can fight if I have to. So this is a tutorial. You can choose to do the tutorial or not. It's up to you. I'm going to skip the tutorial because I already know how to do all of these things. And I can show you as we play, how to do the various things anyway. Okay, so this is the campaign map. And this is the training field where you can do the tutorial. So let's leave A few hours after you leave the training ground, you come across a wounded man lying under a tree. You share your water with him and try to dress his wounds as best as you can. He tells you he is a traveling doctor. To thank you for your help, he hands you a small bronze artifact, which he says was once given to him in payment by a warrior who said only that it was related to Neretz's folly. He suspects it might be of great value. You resolve to find out more. So you start with this main quest. Select your family name. Family name will be Game Education. Okay, now we get to choose a banner. Let's have a look. What do we have here? Quite a lot of options, actually. That's nice. Let's see. I like the hand. Stop right there. No, you know what? I'm gonna go with the boar. I do like the galls. Okay, that green color. Also changes the color of our armor and shield. Yeah, this looks fine. And we can even change the size of the boar. Let's make it. Yeah, okay. Off we go. Okay, so this is the campaign map, and we can zoom in and out with the mouse wheel. If we zoom all the way out, we can see just how big the world is. And we can use WASD to also move around. So this is the this is the world that you play in. And you can right from the very start of the game, you can go anywhere on the map here. And each of the different colors represents a different faction. So we have the Imperials, I think they are here in purple, and we start in the darker purple faction. In fact, you know what, we can just go to one of the clan buttons here, I think, and we can have a look at all of the other factions somewhere. Let's see, there's a quest here, and this tells us our main quest. So if we complete these objectives here, so we need to increase our denars. Denars is the currency you start with. Grow your party size to 20 men. Reach clan tier 1 by increasing your renown and hire 1 companion. And you also have a quest to establish your clan, which I can't actually... Oh, this is establish your clan. Sorry, I thought it was on this one. So if we click on Investigate Neretz's Folly, we have to talk to 10 nobles and ask them about this, and then we will get the next part of the quest to complete as well. We click on Party here. Okay, that was a bit creepy. This shows us our party. Of course, we just started the game, so we only have one person in the party, which is you. But you can easily, or fairly easily, recruit more troops into your party, and that's generally the first thing you want to do when you begin the campaign. You can have a look at your inventory. That's never going to stop being creepy. You can have a look at your armor. You can see the different effects it has. So it says body armor 4, leg armor 2, arm armor 2 as well. So actually the game calculates, you know, when other enemies or when enemies try to hit you, or they do hit you. If they hit you in the arm, it's going to be different from if they hit you in the body. So the game actually calculates on which part of your body you get hit, and then depending on your armor on that part of your body, the damage is reduced accordingly. Now at the start of the game, you don't have much armor, but you can get things like cloaks, helmets, and gloves. We did start with some boots, which give leg armor 5, and we have a sumpter horse, which is horse tier 1. You start with the lowest tier of horse, but having a high riding skill. If we find a better horse, we can use it. So we've got a shield, and this tells us some other statistics like its hit points. And so actually in Mount and Blade, your shield can break in battle if it takes enough damage. So you can't just block infinitely. You can block up to a certain, you know, amount of damage, and after that it's going to break and you won't be able to block anymore. And I think that's a nice mechanic to stop shields being too strong and too useful. Okay, I don't know what was going on there. An iron arming sword. This is actually a pretty good sword. It's a weapon tier 4. And a simple commoner spear, which is only weapon tier 2. Okay, and we have one more tab here. The character tab. And this then shows us all of our skills that we have for our character. Now, I did put a lot of points into riding from the beginning decisions when you're making your character. We see here you get this this bar. And as you get more points into the skill, this bar goes along the tree here. And then as you go over the threshold, so this threshold is 160, I think. Required skill level 50. Once you reach 50 points, you will then be able to choose between these two skills, Veterinary, and this halves your chance of your mount becoming lame or dead after it falls in battle. So your horse can also be killed in battle, and that's a pretty solid tactic sometimes if you're facing a lot of enemy cavalry. it can be difficult to hit the moving target of the man on top of the horse, whereas the horse itself presents a much larger target and is easier to hit with your bows, with your thrown spears. And so you don't need to just aim at the person on the horse. You can just shoot their horse enough until their horse dies and they fall to the ground, and then they are going to be much, much slower and easier to kill. So this would, if our horse does die, it reduces the chance that it would actually be dead or lame after the battle, which would be nice. Or we can choose well strapped, which increases our mount's hit points by 20%, also pretty good, and increases the mounts of your commanded troops have 10% more hit points too. But we can choose between one of these two already, because our riding skill is so high. Let's see. Increases charge damage by 20% and 10% for the mounted troops in our formation, or increases maneuvering by 10%. And the mounted troops in your formation gain 30 riding skill. Okay, so maneuvering basically means how fast your horse can turn. And the faster you're currently running on your horse, the less easy it is to turn. So increasing your ability to maneuver means that at higher speeds, you can turn more, or you can turn faster. And if you can turn faster than, say, the other cavalry units that you are chasing or that are chasing you, you can then outmaneuver those cavalry units. You can then get behind them, or you can turn before they can finish turning and, intercept them for the hit. And every skill has these trees of different skills that you can get as you level up these abilities. For polearm, for example, this first skill would increase your damage by 2% while mounted, and also for cavalry troops in your formation. Or you could just increase your damage with polearms by 2%, a flat 2% increase. So lots of different skills, lots of different ways to build your character, and you can raise these skills as you play anyway. So you're not locked into playing just one way. You can play in any kind of way you want, but choosing your character's skills to kind of suit a way of playing from the start, I think is probably the best way and is going to give you some advantages for playing that way. Now, the other thing we have in the game is something called learning rate and focus points here. And we can press this plus here to increase the focus points in this skill. And that will essentially allow you to learn this skill faster. So if we look at riding, I already have 4 focus points in riding. So my riding skill will increase fairly reasonably fast. We see here the learning rate is 8 times 8.75. So that's going to be much faster than, say, one-handed here, which is only at times 4. And we start with 1 free focus point, and you get more focus points as you level up. So if I wanted to have a character that's really good at riding and polearms, spears, for example, then I can spend my extra focus point here, and that's going to increase the rate at which my polearm skill goes up as I use polearms. They don't just go up randomly. If you want to increase your polearm skill, then you have to use polearms, and as you hit people with spears, you will see your polearm skill going up. If you want your bow skill to go up, you have to use a bow, and not just use it, you have to hit people with the arrows, okay? You can't just randomly fire arrows all over the place and hope it will go up. You have to be able to shoot and hit targets with your bow, and then you will increase your bow skill as you do that. So the same for everything. As you ride a horse, you increase your riding skill. If you want to increase your athletics, you have to run around. So if you're always on a horse, you're actually never going to increase your athletic skill. And that actually in some ways can kind of come back to bite you in the ass, because sometimes your horse is going to die, unfortunately. There's going to be a hail of arrows coming at you. Maybe another cavalry unit gets a lucky lance charge on your horse, and you fall off your horse. And with no athletic skill, you're going to be running pretty slowly. And you're probably not going to be able to get away then from the swarm of men coming towards you at that time. But hopefully that won't happen to me. I think I'm going to put my extra focus point into polearm. Okay, and that increases the learning rate. It also increases the maximum, your total skill point limit. So it's a little bit lower before. If we look at riding, for example, it's all the way up here, a maximum of 160, which allows me to raise it up to 160 and also unlock these associated skills as it increases. So that's done. That's the different tabs done. Let's zoom back in now to this starting area. So what do we do at the start of the game? We can just click on the map to move around. So wherever I left click is going to move my unit here. And the game works in kind of like two different ways. You have the campaign map, and then when you actually engage into a battle with different units, the game changes onto the battle map, which does not look like this. When you have battles, it doesn't look like this. This is just the world map. But generally, the first thing we want to do when we start the game is, being only a single man, we want to recruit some troops so that if we do happen to be ambushed or caught in battle with something, we won't be Billy No-Mates trying to fight them alone. So what we can do is we can go over to any of these villages. Let's try Tavir here. Go over to the village and then we can see if we can recruit any men. So we get some options here. We can take a walk through the lands, and this actually then puts you into the actual village. And these characters, these are the notable characters of the village, will also be there inside the actual real village. You can go and you can talk to them, you can walk around. You can take hostile actions. We click on this, it says we can raid the village. We can force the notables to give recruits, or we can force peasants to give supplies. Now the militia of this village, the defenders, if we see here, there is a militia of 51 men. So if I try to take a hostile action here, if I walk up to these notables and I say, "Hey buddy, you're gonna give me some stuff," or else they're gonna say, "Yeah, you in what army? 'Cause we have 50 guys back here and you look like you've got nobody." So if you do try to do that, then they will probably try to fight you with those 50 guys. Thank you, Temp Account 131 for the follow. Nice to have you here. So these guys will then definitely try to fight you, and you're probably gonna have a bad time. So, when you mouse over the village here, you can pay attention to the different information it gives you. And, based on how many units you have in your own party, you can decide whether, threatening them, if they decide to fight back, whether you can actually win that fight or not. It even says that we can press Alt for more info. Now let me just move my camera over to the right side now, so that it's not blocking anything here. We can press Alt for more info, and that will actually tell us the troop types of the 51 troops that are inside the village here. 26 of them are spearmen and 25 of them are archers. Now can you imagine yourself on your one horse trying to fight 26 spearmen and 25 archers? Probably is not going to go very well, right? So at the start we do want to be nice, and we will ask them if they have any troops to give us. And they say, yeah, okay, if you can spend 20 dinars, then you can have some Imperial Recruits. So let's take these. We'll say yes, okay, thank you, and please. We will pay for them and not cause any trouble. We can buy some products depending on what they have to sell. And so now we get into one of the other mechanics of Mount and Blade, which is that as you recruit troops, they're not just there for free. You have to pay them. You have to pay them a wage, but you also need food to feed them with as well. And you do start with some grain, okay, which is enough. And if we mouse over the food button in the bottom right screen here, we can see the the expected change is minus 0.25, and the days until no food is 8. Now let me just check that you can see that the camera isn't in the way too much. So this calculates according to how many troops you have in your party at the moment and how much food you have in your inventory. It will tell you how many days you can go with no changes before you have no food, and then you're going to start having some problems. But we can just buy some extra food if we like. So we could buy some butter, some more grain, some cheese if we would like. So let's buy a couple more grain and press done. And then we check the food button here. It says days until no food is now 16. That's a bit better. So now we leave, and we can go over to any of these other towns to see if we can recruit more troops. Now, something else which is nice about this game is that each different faction has different kinds of troops. So if we go, say, to one of the villages over to the left here, let's say Tarkutis, we would get different, or we would be able to recruit different troops than we could from Tavir. So let's try that. Let's go to Zestia first and recruit a few more troops if we can. Watch out. Okay, here we go. Here's a good example. Here we have some looters. Looters are pretty much the easiest enemy to fight. And there are 7 of these looters, and we have ourselves and 4 infantry. So we could probably win this fight, and although it is 5v7, I think we can win as long as we utilize our specific combat skills well. Stop right there. This is a robbery. So we have a choice. We don't even have to fight. We could say, okay, let me just give you some money or something to leave me alone. Or you can say, no, buddy, it's on. Put your fists up. We'll need to make an example out of you then. Don't bother begging for mercy. Okay, well, we won't beg for mercy. So then we have 2 options in the combat screen here. We can either choose to attack personally, or we can just send our troops to fight for us. Now, 4 recruits versus 7 looters is not a sure fight. In fact, the game thinks that the power level is in favor of the looters. We see here, black versus green. And so if we send our troops, probably they're just gonna die and we're gonna lose them. So let's just attack personally and see if we can win. And now comes the main benefit of beginning with a spear and a horse. We can run very fast, and we can pick off these looters as we run past. So holding left click. Okay, we missed there. They will try to throw rocks at us as we go past. See those rocks flying through the air. And they chase us. Our troops just stay stood over there because we didn't give them any orders. Now, I think if we want to give our troops some orders, we can press F1. And F1 brings up this screen here on the left. We have things like movement orders, form orders, to hold fire, to dismount. We can tell them to follow us or to move to a certain position. So as I run around here, we see that these troops start to kind of split up a bit. Oops, I didn't want to. Let's press F1 over here, and we can make the troops move over to the edge of the hill. We see them now running just like we told them to. Oops, just missed. So the kind of combat, the way combat works in Mount and Blade is you have to actually aim your hit to make it work. It's not like you can just target an enemy and it will automatically hit. We have to aim. So we can hold down the left mouse button here. We see that we are ready to strike. And then as we get closer to the enemies here, we can try to release left click and do a nice stab. We missed that one there. One looter I see in the distance is reaching my troops, and he's gonna fight 4v1. My Imperial Recruits killed him. We can see that in the top right screen, the little message there. And there we go, we got a nice dab onto the looter. And the bottom left part of the screen will tell us actually some nice hit statistics, what kind of damage we did, how much damage we did, and so on and so forth. If we hold right click, we then get our shield raised, and this is nice for blocking anything being thrown at you or other people trying to attack you. Now the AI isn't incredibly intelligent. You see here that I'm just running in a circle and they keep chasing me when they, of course, if you're on foot you have no chance of chasing down a horse, right? But this is why I recommend starting with a character that has a horse, because then when you get into these early game fights, you have this huge advantage, at least over these infantry or small infantry parties that you encounter. And we can just run around and try to pick off men like that. So I got a skill point in polearm for that successful hit and kill. It says we hit him in the shoulder, our relative movement speed, if any damage was absorbed by the armor. And I don't even need my troops to help me in this battle. I can keep doing this pretty much consistently all the time until all 5 of these remaining guys are dead. Well, if I want, I can tell my troops to charge an attack, and we can have a big old melee. So let's press F1, and let's choose F3 for charge. Attack! And now my troops are going to charge at these guys and get it on. Oops. So I missed my attack there. Let's try again. It can actually take a little while to get the hang of aiming the weapons. Here we go. Here go my troops. It's much easier to attack enemies when they're not looking at you. And these looters have defeated my troops. Killed 3 of them, and the last one decided that he's not interested anymore, so he's running away. And as they chase my remaining infantrymen, it's going to be pretty easy to pick them off. Oh, just missed. 3 left. Now, it's not always the case that when your units die on the battle map that they die. What can happen is they can be knocked out instead of just killed. So the enemies are fleeing now, and this means we won the battle, but I'm not happy with them just fleeing. My troop decides he wants to come back now that they are running away. But we won the battle. Lots of blood on my spear. That's nice. He's cheering like he did something. And now we can just press tab to get the end screen here. This tells us the renown we gained, our morale, and we can also see how many of the troops actually died and how many were just wounded. So 2 of my recruits were actually wounded. They didn't die, but 1 of them did die, and I did increase my polearm skill and my riding skill by 1, and we can see that just by mousing over this upgrades button here. Okay, let's press done. Now we go back to the campaign map. We can take one of these looters as a prisoner if we like. And another nice mechanic that Mountain Blade has is that you can actually over time recruit prisoners if you want, if they decide they like you enough. And you can even sell prisoners at certain places as well for some extra cash. So it's a bit of a slaver style play style. Now, one of our recruits got an upgrade because he gained enough experience in the battle. And then we get a choice of 2 different upgrades. We can upgrade him to an infantryman or to an Imperial archer, both of which cost 15 dinars. I think I would like to choose the Infantryman. When I click this now, we get a different troop type here. He actually has a shield and a sword compared to the Recruit, which just has a pitchfork. So this guy is going to be much better at fighting than the Recruits. So as you go around, you recruit these recruits, you go into some easy battles, you try to get them some upgrades, and then you can start to build up your party of warriors. So let's press done. Let's keep moving to the next town. Okay, this is the loot screen. So you get to pick some of the things that the band or the party you defeated was carrying. Some extra food would be nice so that my troops don't run out. And mousing over the food screen now tells us that it would be 30 days until no food, as long as we don't recruit any more troops. We can take any of these weapons and armor if we like, and we can just sell them at a village or a town. I'm not sure we would actually make so much money from it, but something is better than nothing, especially at the start. So let's just press loot all. And this, it says our capacity is exceeded. Okay, so let's not loot all. Let's have a look at the weight. 1.4, 1.2, 1.5, 0.8, and 0.7. Which one is worth less? This hammer is worth less. Let's get rid of that. The pitchfork is worth less. I still don't have enough capacity, so let's keep getting rid of things. Okay, it says actually you can't pick up any of these things because this date fruit here actually is quite heavy. It has a weight of 10. The grapes have a weight of 10, and the grain here also has a weight of 10. Now if we want to increase our carrying capacity, all we need to do is we need to have some extra horses. Now I don't have any yet, but hopefully I'll be able to change that at some point soon. So we'll just continue with our recruiting from the villages. Let's go over to Zestia here. And now the infantry that are wounded, we see here 2 + 2 W. W means wounded. That means this guy just came here and we took our recruits from the village. Damn it. So this is something else that happens as you play. All the other kind of lords and notable characters who also have bands or parties of warriors, they also go to these villages and take recruits. And so if they arrive before you and take the recruits, then when you get there might just be nothing left for you to take. Let's see if that's the case. Did he take all of them? He did take all of the ones that we could have taken. Now, it says here that we could recruit these. These are available to recruit, but we don't have a high enough relation. We have -1 and we need 5. And we can increase our relations with these people by doing quests for them or by helping them in various ways. You know, if they're being attacked by bandits or by other armies and we defeat those, we will gain some relations with them. They will like us more for doing that. Many different ways to increase our relations. Let's just leave them, and let's see if we can go over to some of the villages over here to see the different kinds of troops. So we can move through this mountain pass here. Hope there are no bandits in the forest waiting for us, because we do only have a very small party. We can even see that each village has a symbol next to it. So there we go. This is what we have to be careful of. Because the way the campaign map works is that as you move, or when you are moving, that's when time passes. And if you don't move like this, then time is not passing. We see here at the very bottom of the screen, it's now paused. We can make it play if we want. But generally, if you just leave it the way it is, if you stop moving, then time freezes. And these are 13 looters. If we mouse over them, it says engaging QQ Taser's party. So they are chasing us. They have 13 men and they think, yeah, we can take on this band of four guys, and to be honest, they probably could. So what we can do is we can run away. And because we have a smaller party, we see our speed is 4, the looters' speed is 3.4, so we are faster than them. And this is the benefit you have when you have a small band, is that generally you're going to be faster than bigger bands. You can also increase your speed by having troops that are mounted. So if we go over to Tavern, actually this exclamation mark here, 2 forest bandits. Okay, I think we could take out 2 forest bandits, right? And they might have some interesting equipment or something. Let's see if we can do that. They start running away. They think that they don't want to fight us. Their speed is 5, our speed is 5.5, so we could catch them. But there's another band of forest bandits over here, 8, and I think if we get too close to them, they would probably also start chasing us. So let's just go to Tavern, and we can have a look at this exclamation mark first. So this guy here has the exclamation mark. If we click on him, we can visit or we can talk. If we visit, that means we actually go into the village, and we can talk to him inside. So I guess I'll just quickly demonstrate that for you. Let's visit and see the difference. Sorry, I don't think I know you. I'm Cute Taser, and who are you? I've lived all my life here, working the land, and so on and so forth. I heard you may need some help with a problem. There's this old ruin, a place that offers good view of the roads. Needless to say, it attracts bandits, yes. You want me to kill bandits you want me to enter their hideout. Okay, so bandit hideouts actually are not that easy to defeat. You have to go in with a small band of your men. It gives you a very kind of specific map, not the open map that you would usually get, and I think you don't even usually bring your horse. And so at the very start of the game like this, if you are offered a chance to go and fight bandits, at least in their hideout, probably you're not going to be able to do that, so there's not much point taking that. But now we can see the inside of the actual village. This is, I think, a really nice aspect of the game. You get this kind of realistic feel. You see people, farming in the fields. You see people walking about, and you can find all of the notable characters that we saw on the campaign map inside the village here. We just have to look around for them to find them. And whenever you do the hostile actions against a village, you also get a village map similar to this, which is pretty interesting, I think, as well. So we can ride around, we can look at stuff. Sometimes you even get quests where you have to find certain people in a village. And if we want to exit, if we get bored of looking around, we can just hold tab and we will leave like this. And back we go to the campaign map. So now if we zoom out, we know that we already took recruits from Tavern. The recruits at Zestair were already taken as well. There is one over here, but there are forest bandits in the way. And there are looters in the way of these ones here. We could try going south and around to see if we can get to Onika. And see if we can recruit some more troops there. Maybe even we could recruit some at Canaros, but there's a band of 22 looters there. Let's see if we can avoid them and get in. Okay, so generally the enemy warbands do have their own kind of things to do, and they do travel around. They don't just try to chase you indefinitely. See if we can recruit. Okay, we can get just one, but one's better than 0. Leave. And see if we can make our way down to Onika. Hopefully those 22 looters are not still there, but they are. Okay, maybe let's try the other way. Let's pause so that we don't randomly get attacked by a band of 22 looters. So we could move through the campaign map this way, and I don't really want to do that because I want to try and find some different faction villages to have a look at the different recruit types that we can get. So I'm going to try and go up the left side here. And so the campaign map as well also kind of cycles through this day and night. And at night you travel slower than you would travel at day. Just like if you move through forest, you also travel slower as well, unless you are, say, the Battalion culture, in which case you get that nice bonus that allows you to move through forest faster. But let's see, where is the nearest different village? Let's see if we can make our way up here to Amitatis. And if it's a little bit too slow, if we're not too worried about being attacked, we can even fast forward. But when you just start the game, you can't actually like see super far from your character, so there could even be some looters or some bandits up here on the map. Just because we don't see anything now doesn't mean they aren't there. So we do have to be kind of careful and pay attention as we are moving, and if we spot anything that might be able to kill us, then we want to avoid that, right? Let's see, let's go over to Amitatis and we'll see what we can do in an actual town. So we get a bunch more options when we go to towns. We get some more notable people. We get things like we can go to the keep, and the guards say that they can't just let anyone in. We could pay a 800 dinar bribe, but only having 890 dinars, that's not a great choice. We can go to the arena, and we can even enter the arena. We can fight in the arena, and winning arena fights will gain you some renown and some gold if you'd like to do that. It's also a nice way to just to practice the combat in different ways. You can go to the Tavern District, and here I can actually sell the looter that I took from the first battle. So let's ransom him away. I could recruit one hired crossbow for 800 dinars. That's not something I want to do either. And we do also have a recruit troops option. 4 recruits here. Let's take all 4. Wonderful. And we gained a skill point in leadership, and we also leveled up from doing that. So even from just recruiting troops, that is still associated with a skill, and you can level that up and gain XP for it. So let's have a look at our character now. We gained an extra focus point, which we use to increase learning rate. So what should we spend that in? Let's spend it in Polam. So I'm going very heavily focused into the riding and polearm here. And now let's leave the town. I don't want to take any quests yet, although actually we can check. Is the quest something we can do? Escort a merchant caravan. The problem being that you can encounter still, groups of bandits or looters that are 20 or 30 in strength. So taking these quests sometimes can just cause you to fail the quest, and failing the quest means you will just lose some standing with the person who gives you the quest, and you won't be able to succeed. You might even accidentally get engaged by these bandits and die. So generally the easiest way I find to start the game is, you can look at the quests, and if the quests seem, reasonably easy to do, then yeah, do them. Otherwise, what we do is we just go around and we try to find villages that we can recruit troops from. If we have a look at our party here, we can recruit up to 20 troops at the moment, and that's related to our leadership skill. So as our leadership skill goes up as well, we will be able to recruit more troops. I think it's also connected to your renown. But at least go around and, recruit some troops until you have a reasonable amount, and then we can start, engaging in some small battles against the looters or some bandits. And you see, as we defeat those looters and bandits, we gain access to some of the loot that they were carrying. Sometimes you can get some nice things from that, some extra horses that allow you to carry more things, and then you can carry more things, sell more things, and you keep this kind of cycle going. So can we recruit any troops? We can. There's some more Imperial Recruits. Can we buy any products? Let's see. Just grain and stuff. In fact, I just had an interesting idea. If we go back to the town, we can see if we can buy a cheap horse. If we could buy a cheap horse, that will allow us to carry more things. And at least that way, when we get those loot screens from the battles, we'll be able to carry many, many more of them. Let's see, trade. Okay, yeah, so here we have a good example. We have Sumpter Horse and we have Mule, we have Midlands Palfrey, a little bit more expensive, but this is an upgraded kind of horse, and I do have enough gold to take this horse if I'd like. It actually has less hit points than my current horse, but it has higher charge damage, higher speed, better maneuverability, and it requires riding 10. So why don't I take one of these? And that way then, if I equip this horse, I actually have my other horse spare to be able to help me increase the amount that I can carry. And so we see here now that my inventory capacity is 350. This has been increased by 100 by my pack animals and by 240 by the troops I have. So let's press OK. Let's spend that gold. Check the food tab, because as you recruit more troops, you also, they will also require more food. They will consume more food. And sometimes if you recruit a whole bunch of troops, your explanation is easy to understand. Good. I'm glad about that, QQ Taser. Thanks for your feedback. And so, sometimes when you recruit a whole bunch of troops in a short period of time, and you don't pay attention to the then increased change in consumable items, you might quickly run out of food, or more quickly run out than you were expecting. But now that I have 12 men, I'm feeling a bit more confident about fighting some looters or bandits. Let's have a look, maybe up this way. See if there are any different kinds of troops that we can recruit, maybe from Ataconia up here. He's going to go and recruit the troops here, isn't he? Yeah. Damn you. But you won't beat me to this one. Okay, this is interesting. So in this one, we can actually recruit some level 2 recruits, although they are a little bit more expensive. Well, not a little bit, actually a lot more expensive. They cost 50 to recruit rather than just the standard 20 for these Imperial Recruits. And if you remember, if you take these recruits and you fight with them and they gain XP and you can then upgrade them, it costs 15 denars to upgrade them. So if you pay 20 and then 15 to upgrade them, that's still only 35. So that's 15 cheaper than just buying them here. Now you do of course have to pay the wage every day as well, which is 2. So as long as you upgrade them within, let's say, 10 days, it's still going to be cheaper than just recruiting these more expensive recruits. Now 50 denars for buying a troop, it's not super expensive. It's just that at the start of the campaign, at the start of the game, you don't have much gold. You want to kind of more carefully manage it so that you don't just randomly suffer some setbacks and run out. So I'll just take the normal recruit for now. There's somebody with a quest. Let's see if landowner needs manual laborers. The landowner needs your help to find prisoners to use in his mines as manual laborers. Okay, so this is a kind of quest that we can actually do, I think. All we have to do is go and fight some looters or some bandits, make sure we can capture some of them, and then take them to this guy, and then we'll be able to complete this quest. So let's have a chat to him. I am QQ Taser, and who are you? I am Chenon. I own the land around here. I speak for many of the people in this village. I heard you need help with a problem. Okay, 2 workers were crushed to death. This is a great shame. Okay, you want some... They need to be criminals or bandits for me to do this legally. I need at least 9 of them. Okay. I'll bring you at least 9 prisoners as soon as possible. And they have to be looters or bandits. So let's be off looking for some looters or bandits. If we go to the quest screen here, we have 29 days to complete this quest. If we don't complete it in 29 days, then we will suffer a reputation standing with this guy. I think 29 days is easy enough to find 9 looter prisoners. Hopefully saying that didn't just jinx me with some bad luck. So let's have a look around. We could even just go back down to where we were before, because there were a bunch of bandits and looters around the training camp. I'm still not going to use this fast forward button just in case any large band pops out of the woodwork and engages us in a battle that we can't win. And losing early battles can be a little bit of an issue in helping you to get off to a good start, because you don't die, or sometimes you don't die, you just get captured by the bandits or the looters, and they drag you around, they take your stuff, and it's just overall an unpleasant experience. So we generally just want to avoid taking or being dragged into any fights that we can't actually, win. So let's see, back down to the training field area over here. See if we can find any reasonably similar sized bands of bandits to fight. And another thing, I guess, to note is that at night, your vision range is also reduced. So, usually you can see a reasonable amount around you. Okay, look, there's some 13 looters. Let's see if we can fight those guys. That's going to be a fair fight. They don't think it's a fair fight. They are running away. I think it's a fair fight, so we're chasing them. Speed 4.9, speed 5.3. We will catch them. It's just going to take a little bit for us to get there. There we go. We're not looking for a fight. Well, of course you aren't, because you think you can't win, but I am. Neither am I. If you surrender, you'll never take us alive. Too bad. Off we go. Okay, here we go. Here's my band of merry men. But let's stick them. Let's say if we press F1 here, we can tell them to move and stand on kind of like on top of this hill here. Come stand over here, boys. And I can go ahead and I can have a look for these guys, wherever they might be. There they are. See if we can get a nice spear charge on the edge. Oof, oh dear. Brutal. But we don't want to charge, directly into the center of their mass, because that's often an easy way to get surrounded. That was one knocked out. You see the difference in the kill notification in the middle of the screen. If it's red, they are dead. If it's white, they are knocked out. And so we're just using our mobility here to get easy hits on these bandits without them actually being able to really engage us in a fair fight, or an unfair fight even. So in this way, you can pick off a lot of enemy units. Oof. My horsey took a hit there. Gotta be careful of that. And as we do this, you see, we actually kind of split the looters up so that they engage our own troops in a way that is, you know, favorable to us. So now they engage with 3 versus our 8. Now they're running away. Now we can even tell our troops if we press F1. Oh, they're running away. We can't actually tell them to charge anymore, but we can run these guys down by ourselves. Brutal. Oof, just missed. Oh dear. Come on. There we go. There's a knockout. He's dead. And we can even just switch to the sword if we like. Oops, I hit the tree. But you still have to kind of aim so that you do actually hit them, because it's very easy to miss. Is that all of them? I think that's all of them, right? Okay, fine. So let's press tab. Killed 10 of them and wounded 2 of them, so we can capture those. That's 2 out of 9. Just need to capture 7 more before we can take them back to that guy for the quest. So here, 2 prisoners. Take all of those. One of the Imperial Recruits gained some XP, and we can level him up. Let's also make him an infantryman. So 2 infantrymen, that's nice. And we do have to pay to upgrade him, but that's okay. And now we can take some of this loot, or all of this loot, because our capacity has been increased very nicely, thanks to both having these extra troops, but also having the spare horse. And we even get some extra food. But you don't actually really need to buy food a lot of the time, as long as you are, you know, fighting other bands and winning. A lot of the time they already have food that you can just take at the end. So we just take all of this, and we'll just sell some of these things whenever we go to a town or village. And this is, you know, this is an easy way to then kind of build up your starting money reserves. One looter left there. We can just leave him alone. Okay, another band of looters here. Speed 4.9, speed 5.1. We can catch him, but that difference of 0.2 is a little bit small, so why don't we try fast forwarding? Okay, and just be careful that we are ready to pause in case something pops out. You best back off. There's dozens more of us hiding, just waiting for our signal. Nice try, brigand. They'll never take us alive. Well, I am actually trying to take you alive. At least some of you. Okay, this is a nice open area, so what I'll do is I'll just leave my troops here. And we'll go for the picking off approach with the spear and the drive-by. Here we go. Missed. It's alright. Off we go. Get out of rock throwing range. Turn around. And... Oof. Oof, 146 damage. That was nice. Did take a rock to the arm though. That's okay. Only 9 damage. And let's go again. So again, we're just aiming at the edge of the crowd. We don't want to charge into the middle, because sometimes your horse will get kind of stuck on them, might end up rearing up, and then you're in the middle of a bunch of guys who are all going to be hitting you with their stuff, and you can actually die surprisingly fast in those situations. Now, one of the other things I guess I haven't really talked about so far is that the game has a kind of aiming system with its weapons. So if I move my mouse to the right, I raise my sword to the right. But if I move my mouse to the left, it does it like this. If I raise my mouse up, then I raise the sword up and we do a kind of downwards slashing motion like this. If we put it down, we can do a thrusting motion like this. So, and this also, you know, does different kinds of damage. The thrusting motion does piercing damage, whereas the slashing, like the overhead or the sides, do the cut damage. We see delivered cut damage in the bottom left-hand corner. And the same for these kinds as well. And the edge of the map here represented by this kind of red curtain. If enemies reach this red curtain, then they leave the battle and they survive. So we see here routed 4. 4 of them got away. Captured 1 and killed 2. So let's take him. 3 prisoners now. We only need 6 more. And let's take all of this stuff. It is all crappy stuff, but there's some extra food. And we're just taking the crappy stuff because we can make at least a little bit of money from that. Okay, and these are the 4 guys that routed. 4 guys routed from the battle. They reached the edge of the map. They got away. And so here we have these 4 guys again on the map here. If we wanted, we could chase them down again. Not sure what their speed is going to be like. Let's see, speed 1, because it's nighttime. Let's see if we can catch them. So 3.4 and 3.6, we can catch them. Let's catch them because some extra prisoners would be nice. 18 looters. That sounds like a good fight. Let's try this one. And they think that they can win it. Hello, traveler. Hope you brought your purse. See, we are what you might call brigands. And I'm afraid we can't let you pass without paying us a bit of coin. Well, you see, I myself am a bit of a slaver, and I'm here to take you to work in the mines. So, fight me if you dare. And in these cases, like when units try to fight you, you then get this option to try to get away. And you can try, and sometimes you will lose troops trying to get away. It's a bit randomized, but I'm going for the attack. Alright, so here are my troops. I will leave them there as I do some drive-bys with the spear. So again, you know, not going into the center, go to the left here because my lance is on the right, and just take out some of these guys. Ooh dear, my mount got 71 damage, cut to the neck. My poor horsey, that's awful. Okay, here we go again. Took some damage to the leg. Those pitchforks have a nice range on them. So in these cases, you know, when there are a lot of enemies like this, we can just try to split them up a bit. We can see one looter over there kind of got split apart. So let's see if we can split them up a bit more. And as we get too far away, then they might change their target and try to attack my soldiers instead. Alright, so now we have a single target over there to try and pick off. And we missed. Awful. Awful aiming. So I might actually need to use my infantry in this fight, so let's ask them to move up a bit using the movement controls. Let's tell them to stand on top of this hill here. Yeah. There we go, there's one dead guy. And one looter is going to fight my band of warriors. Actually, two of them. They are splitting up slowly now that they can see my warriors. In these cases, we see that different looters have, you know, different kinds of weapons. Some have pitchforks, some have hammers, some have, I guess, swords, some of them. Now, the pitchforks are kind of like a polearm. They have extra range. And though that kind of extra range is a problem sometimes when you're on a horse. Because they can hit you and use your kind of speed advantage against you. But they don't have much morale. And they're now running away after almost no fighting whatsoever. And we'll just chop away at them. As they try. Probably I won't be able to kill all of them before they reach the red boundary, but I'll try my best. That's one captured. Oh, it just missed before he reached the red line. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, 13 dead, one captured, and 4 got away. Increased my riding skill, my polearm skill, my one-handed skill. Okay, that's fine, that's nice. And gained some renown and morale. Plundered 143 gold. Okay, that's good. We have a look at our gold here. It says that our main party wages is 26. So we pay 26 gold per day for the current amount of troops that we have. Actually, from this battle, 7 of these recruits gained enough XP to be upgraded. So let's get a few more infantrymen. We only have 2 infantrymen. But let's also take some archers. And because these looters, they never have shields, right? So these archers can actually kill a few of them and damage them before they even reach your main force, which is pretty handy. So let's have 4 archers and 1 more infantryman. And this little symbol here we have now over the looters here with 1. We see if we can now recruit this prisoner. And so when you keep prisoners for a certain amount of time, you know, sometimes they say, okay, you don't seem so bad, and you can recruit them into your army, and also, you know, they gain experience just the same as other units. You can upgrade them, and this can be an interesting way to fill your army ranks. But at the moment we kind of want to keep these because we're trying to sell them to that guy for the quest. So I'm not going to recruit this looter. We're going to pay 105 to upgrade all these troops, which is fine because we gain more than 100 anyway from this battle. So let's press OK. Okay, there's actually a lot of armor and things here. And so because I don't actually have any helmet at the moment, what I can do is, let's have a look. This one has 4 armor, 2 armor. Let's put this one here, and we can wear this. And we can even check to see if any of these garments have better armor than what I'm wearing now. It looks like they don't, so no need to change that. But we can even use some of these tattered arm wraps because you actually start with no gloves. So we put these on, and that's just 1 extra armor, better than nothing. And everything else we just take because we can sell it. Up to 128 out of inventory capacity, 370 now. getting a reasonable amount of things to sell. Let's press done. Now I did take some damage from a couple of pitchforks that battle, and we can see my health down here is 65%. So my maximum hit points are 100 and they are currently 65, and I will heal at a rate of 5.55. It will go up slowly over time. Let's see if we can fight these forest bandits. Often the actual different kinds of bandits, they actually have better loot than the looters do. Looters don't have good loot. I guess that's a funny way of putting it. So let's see if we can fight these bandits without them running away. They are running away. Speed 4.9, speed 3. Okay, so we can't actually catch up with them anyway. Now this is one of the... Now the speed is back up to 5. Okay, we could have caught them. Would have taken a little bit of time though. Now one other effect of having prisoners is that they actually kind of slow you down a little bit. The more prisoners you have, the more they will slow you down. And there is a forest bandit hideout over here. And this is the hideout for the quest here. They wanted us to go to the hideout and fight the bandits. Probably not a great idea right at the start of the game, because it can sometimes be a difficult fight. But let's go over to this town. Let's try and sell some of the things we've collected so far. There's a band of 22 looters. I think we can actually probably take that fight. See if we can recruit any troops. We can. Okay. We can actually recruit a lot of troops here. So let's just press recruit all. And it's going to cost 140 dinars, and that will take us up to our maximum capacity of 20 out of 20. And press done. We'll go to trade. We can now sell all of these things that we picked up. You know, if you do want to use different kinds of weapons, you can also use these weapons that you pick up. If you want to try using a crude wooden hammer, you can just drag it to your inventory here, and we now see the hammer hanging on a non-existent belt there. You could use a sickle instead. Just take the hammer off, drag the sickle here instead. You could replace your sword or spear as you like. It's up to you. All of these are perfectly usable weapons. And one of the other benefits of using these blunt weapons like hammers and things like that and maces is they have a much higher chance then to render your targets unconscious when you kill them, rather than actually outright kill them. So if you do have a quest where you're trying to capture prisoners, then using, things like hammers and maces is going to allow you to do that, much faster and a bit better. Personally, I'm more concerned with just winning the battles at the moment, so I'm not really too bothered about trying to use a hammer or a mace. It's fine, taking a lot of small battles at the start of the campaign, so you can build up your resources, build up your troops, build up, just grab a bunch of kind of crappy loot and then take it to a town and sell it so that you can increase the amount of gold you have. And then as you increase your gold, you can have more troops, you can take more battles, you can buy some better weapons and armor as well. So let's sell all of this crap that I've picked up. And I'll get 500 gold for all that crap, which is pretty good. My food now, though, although I do have a reasonable amount of food, because I have now 20 men, it's only going to take 10 days for me to run out of food. Now that's not such a huge issue, considering that whenever you fight these bandits or these looters, you tend to also get some food in the loot anyway. So most of the time you can maintain your food reserves just by fighting. Let's see if we can find any more reasonable armor than this hemp tunic, which is not so great at protecting me. So here we go. Here's some better armor. Let's see. A lady's dress. Maybe not. It does have better armor. The tunic with rolled cloth. Now, it is only a very small percentage better than what I'm wearing now, and it's going to cost 200. When you only have about 1,000 gold, I don't think there's much point spending 20% of your total gold for a small increase in armor, especially considering if we just go fight some bandits, we can probably pick up some better armor anyway. So let's not buy any armor from here. A leather cap could be okay. We see this one would increase the head armor. It would double the head armor. And it's only 200 to double the head armor, which I think that's a reasonable buy. How about gloves? Gloves. Okay, here we have some woven leather braces. Again, these are also 200, but they increase our arm armor from 1 to 6, which again is a nice change, pretty reasonable change. So why don't I just actually buy some of these and the leather cap, and we put these on. And now I'm only going to get 100 dinars from all that selling. I can sell these as well because I don't need them. But I'm upgrading my armor in a reasonable way, and I'm still gaining gold at the end of the day, right? And then as we go to fight some more guys, we're only going to get more gold again anyway, and more armor to sell. So let's press done. Let's see if we can go fight that big band of 22 looters. 20 versus 22. Sounds good to me. And they don't want to do it, but I really want to do it. We're just harmless travelers. Yeah, my ass. I think not brigand. Let's attack. And because it's night now, we're going to get a night map. Which is, just these little touches to the game I think are really nice. So I have two different kinds of troops now, right? I have archers and infantry. So if I just put my normal infantry, say... Infantry! Let's put them here. Forward! Behind the archers. Let the looters approach. Let the archers take their shots. Or alternatively, if I press F1, and I press now 2, archers! And then F1 here, move! We can make the archers stand off to the side. And then they can shoot still freely. And we can move the normal infantry a little bit forward to there. Archers are going to shoot. I'm going to run in at the side with my lance and do a drive-by. There we go. Distract them a little bit. Come in from behind. Oof, just missed. And the battle begins. The looters run away because they are not warriors. They don't really want to be here to begin with. They're just there for the easy looting, right? Now they can get picked off. And often when you're chasing units down like this, using a sword rather than your spear is better because you can swing it faster. Because they tend to be clumped up like this. And your spear, is generally used at best range or for that kind of drive-by. Or more. This is also, an easy way to raise the one-handed skill, because it doesn't matter whether your enemies are running away or not. Just hitting them with a one-handed weapon allows you to raise your one-handed skill. That was nice. I did unfortunately lose one infantryman. Sad times. But we killed 14 looters, wounded 1, and 7 of them got away. Okay, so that's one more for the quest. Only need 4 more looters now to be able to go back to the guy and complete the quest. But my Imperial archers now, 2 of them also leveled up again. So now we get an even higher level archer available, and it costs 25 to upgrade them. That sounds cool. Have a look at these guys. So as you upgrade them like this, they tend to just get better armor, better equipment, better bows, better arrows, better swords, and even better skills. So like in terms of like better skills, that means they'll do more damage. If they're using bow skills, they'll aim better, they'll have better accuracy. And then that means that they will hit more often with their arrows and do more damage, just because they are hitting more often as well. So my Imperial Infantryman here also has an upgrade, and that will make him into this Imperial Trained Infantryman, who we see has much better armor, a nice helmet, a better shield. That's pretty cool. And 4 Imperial Recruits can also be upgraded. I did lose one of the infantrymen here, so I'll need to replace that. Maybe another archer. Maybe 2 more archers and then 1 more infantryman. Then with 6 archers, at least some of the incoming troops will be injured and dead before they reach that kind of main battle line. Okay, that'll cost 135, that's fine. And look at all this loot. Okay, that's nice. Plenty of food and beer and things like that. So we don't need to buy any more food. No chance of running out now. A rusty Siege. Not very good, but we can sell it. So let's just loot all and press done. And there's the 7 that got away. We lost 1 man, so we are down now to 19 men. But no big deal. We could even choose to chase these looters down. But when we have a speed of 4.9 and they have 4.9, it's going to be really hard to catch up unless you kind of like, box them into a corner somewhere, which can actually take a lot of time sometimes. See if there's anything to recruit here. Yeah, we can take this guy. Let's just take him. Let's see how that goes. So we just need, I think, 4 more prisoners to take back. 1 looter. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. There, 19 looters. That's nice. That's perfect. So what I'm doing here is I'm not clicking on the looters, I'm actually trying to follow along the left side of them, because we can see here that they're going to go into this kind of mountain pocket. So if we just follow along the side of them, they will be forced to either cut across us. You see now we are getting closer anyway. They'll be forced to cut across us or go back. But either way, it's going to make them come close enough to us for us to engage them in battle. And now I just click ahead in small increments, because they can turn suddenly. And now that they're kind of boxed into this mountain range here, it should be quite easy to get the engagement, just like that. You got a problem? Not if you give up now. Nope, didn't want to give up. Okay, so let's press F1 and 2. Bowman! And let's put the bowman here at the side. And we can even, if we press F1 again, and we're already selecting bowman, what we can do is we can actually get them to change the way they stand. So let's do this. It's not F1, sorry. It's F2. So if we press F2 now, we can change them to a kind of loose formation where they kind of spread out a bit like this. Now we press F1 and 1 and F... No.
Look that way!
Look that way. I really want them to charge. There we go. Don't really want the archers to engage in melee combat. But actually for this fight I didn't even need to fight. Now I have enough troops that they can kind of win the fight for me. And I can just run around afterwards for some sport hunting. Like the rich noblemen of the past. But it's definitely going to be easier to do with a sword. We'll just trot alongside them here for the constant swings. And we gained a level from that, that's nice. Try and get these guys before they get away. Oh. Brutal. Oh, we got them all. Wonderful. In these cases, you know, we don't have to just like charge at full speed past the whole band. If we just try to match their speed on the horse by pressing down and reducing the speed the horse walks at, like this. We press forward a bit, it increases again. We press forward again, it increases more. If we hold forward, it increases then up to galloping. And if we press, you know, S, WSD, if we press S again, it's gonna decrease the speed. And then we can just match their speed as they run away and, you know, just slice away like this the whole time. There we go. No losses, fortunately. And 5 wounded looters this time. So now we can complete that quest. Wonderful. Okay, 5 prisoners makes 10 looter prisoners. This infantryman can be upgraded. These archers also upgraded. Okay. Now you see, as we start with these bunch of recruits and we win these easy fights against looters, you know, we are then able to upgrade them. We collect all the loots that we can sell it, so we'll always have enough gold at least to pay their wages, and you know, you always get that kind of free food as well, so that they have something to eat. And this is the easy way to start the campaign and build, you know, a small force up for yourself, so that you can have this competent warrior band at the start of the game. And once you have this, then once you have some reasonable amount of troops that are a little bit upgraded, a reasonable amount of gold and a reasonable amount of food, you know, you can either find better armor or buy better armor, up to you. Both are perfectly viable, and then you're just in a kind of safe position to play the game in a better way. You can then go and sell your services as a mercenary and things like that. So let's be done here. Let's take all the loot. Anything interesting? Of course, no, because it's just looters, but we can still sell all their crap. And now we need to go back to Ataconia. So we can just have a look. You know, we can just move across the map here with WASD and then click on the village. And our band will just move there by themselves. And we can even just do the fast forward. And it's going to move all the way there by themselves anyway. Maybe just keep your mouse over the pause button, just in case there is some extraordinarily large band of bandits or looters along the way that you want to try and avoid, because they will attack you. This seems okay so far. Yeah, off we go, off we go. Now you see these kinds of caravans that come through, right? And every faction sends caravans across the map selling different kinds of trade goods. And you can actually choose to attack these caravans if you want. Now they do tend to have pretty reasonable amount of guards, usually 30 or more. And they tend to be, not just recruit guards, but reasonable soldier guards. But once you have a reasonable sized band of warriors, you can choose to play this like bandit playstyle, where you attack these caravans, and after you defeat them, you can steal all the stuff that they are sending to wherever to try and trade. And once you take all that stuff, you then just go into another town and you sell all that stuff for a great profit. And that's a very fun way to play sometimes. You have to be warned though that doing so will make whatever faction they are associated with really not like you, maybe to the point where you kind of become persona non grata and they won't let you into any of their towns. Their armies might then also start attacking you on sight as well. So it's not without any risks, but it's this kind of playground game that we have here where there's no one specific way you have to play. You can choose to be a mercenary, offer your services to a different lord. You can try to become a lord within a faction if you want. You can own castles, own villages, or you can do none of those things and just be a bandit. And even these villagers here, these villagers of Thorios, for example, this is just 23 peasants. You can even go and attack this band of 23 peasants if you want. If you want to play like that, you can do it. You can raid villages as long as you have, enough men. We see the 28 defenders here. If we hold Alt, we see 14 spearmen, 14 archers. Now, with only 20 men and them not being that upgraded yet, I would say that's probably not a good fight to take. And the other caveat is that if you do try to raid a village, it does take some time for the process to finish. And during that process, nearby armies of this faction can come to attack you if they are close by and they feel like doing that. So there are still, associated risks. But it does offer you this nice kind of open playground way of playing the game. And you can choose, whichever way you want to do it. And I definitely recommend trying different ways of playing the game. Sometimes try being a mercenary, try being a bandit and just going around the map looting things. Let's just finish this quest for now. These 9 looters sent to work in the mines. So that was Chenon of Ataconia. Okay, let's just talk to him. It's been a while. It has been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, thanks again. About the task you gave me. Yes, I have brought you a few men. Sure. And we're just gonna click all of these looters. Give him all of them because I don't want them. And we'll press done. Anything else? Here is all I've got. Let's settle up and finish this business. Okay, jolly good. Mission completed. We get 500 gold for that quest, which is really nice. And we gained 5 skill points in charm as well. Okay, that's a nice bonus. And we can even just sell the crap we picked up from the looters to this village as well. They have 941 gold to pay us in total if we want, so that's fine. Sell all the crappy stuff. And we'll get an extra 375. All done. See if they have any troops. Yep. We can have an extra 3 troops now. We started with a limit of 20, right? But as you fight and you win battles, you see at the end of the battle screen you get that plus 1 or 2 renown from these small battles. And as your renown increases, that also affects how many men that you can have in your party. So it's now gone up by 3. So I can grab, an extra 3 guys here. Press OK, and now I've got a band of 23 men rather than a limited of 20. It's now 23. We go and find some more bandits to fight, some more looters to fight. We upgrade our troops. We gain more renown from doing that, and you just keep cycling through this process. You gain the loot, you sell the loot, you find some quests, you gain more troops, you gain more money. You then either buy more armor, maybe you try to fight some more difficult enemies such as the sea raiders or the forest bandits. The difference between looters and bandits is that bandits tend to actually have some reasonable weapons and armor on them, and so they are generally harder to fight, and you don't want to fight them just with a band of normal recruits. You want to fight them with some at least upgraded once troops and with a similar number of troops. And then as you do that, you will be able to loot the equipment that these bandits have, the better armor they have, the better weapons they have. And of course you can then either equip them yourself or sell them for even more money. And you keep doing this different thing, and you go around the map, you find different things, different kinds of bandits, different kinds of quests. You increase your renown. Increasing your renown, you can then have more troops, and it keeps building up and up and up like this. And then you reach a stage where you can have party members also controlling bands of troops, and then you start to have your own army of hundreds and hundreds of men, and that's the stage then when you might want to consider doing things like trying to capture a castle by yourself and creating your own kind of kingdom. That is also something you can do. But I'm up to my stream time limit here. I'm on the 2 hours and 10 minutes, so I'm gonna stop here. But I hope this helps you in seeing how you can begin and understand a campaign for Mount and Blade Bannerlord. And if you enjoyed the stream, you can follow. I do lots of different streams and videos about how we can understand games, beginner guides for games. That's the purpose of game education. But otherwise, that's going to be it from me. So that's me signing off. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and thanks for coming, and I hope you come back next time.